every man and woman is on a spectrum of sensitivity, and you kind of realizing your own, like being, there's that book HSP, you know, there's like the highly sensitive person, and realizing that, especially with a lot of creatives, they're incredibly sensitive by virtue of that. They have access to more of the arts, right? But the shadow side of that as well is, if it's not grounded, if it's not integrated, and you're not operating from that side of sensitivity, then you're sensitive to a lot of the other things, which is the anxiety and the loneliness and the negative voices and how that manifests externally as well. And so how powerful was that realization of that?
Of me being sensitive?
Yeah, just like really realizing that.
Yeah, it came from my ex-girlfriend. After we broke up, she texted me and said, hey, I think this book would help the highly sensitive person. I think Elaine Aron is the author. I always forget, but yeah, dude, I remember reading it. It was like reading my biography. It was insane. I think when what's helpful, what I love most about reading is when you are able to name things, they kind of lose their fear. Like the more you're able to understand something and put a name on it, there's this sense of, I don't know, this wholeness that's created from it. And so for me, you know, there's these different terms that have come into my life, you know, like HSP, highly sensitive person. I'm a third culture kid. TCK, someone that grows up in different countries when they're a kid. And I have had these feelings and experiences, and I've always been like, damn, I feel so alone in this. But I think, again, the naming of them, it creates this connective piece. It's like, if there's a name to it, that means other people must feel this way or have had these experiences, which is like, whoa, I'm connected to them too. So gradually I felt, by uncovering parts of myself and learning about myself that way, I connect more to more of humanity and what people have learned and the knowledge they can share. The HSP thing was probably the biggest one because I, for my whole life, have played this tough guy. I know it may sound weird now talking to me, but I never used to cry. I never used to say I was hurting. I never used to like show any kind of pain. Again, in the environment I grew up in the system, and also what it means to be a man in this world, you just don't show it. And I prided myself on being this like athlete and this like leader and this businessman and, you know, all these different labels of what it means to be a man, when I was dying inside. So it's hilarious. It's like, what are you actually? And so when my ex-girlfriend sent me that, it was what the is she like trying to mess with me because we broke up? Like, what is this? It's like, hey, loser, you're sensitive. But no, it was the greatest gift. It's just, you're way more sensitive than you think. And one of the things I like, the analogy I love that Gabor uses, where like if you're touching the shoulder of someone, like if I touch your shoulder now, how does it feel? What about if you have a burn? Like, how does it feel now? And so if you're sensitive, you just feel it so much more intensely. Another one is I'm really affected by noise, like loud noises, like cars or whatever. And I was at my friend's place last year, and he had these like really like silent windows, and I would go to bed and it'd be perfect. And as soon as I'd open the window, it would be like raucous. It was in Copenhagen, like the middle of the city, and you would just hear the noise of the streets below. And I was like, sensitivity is that. The noise comes in, like the raucous comes in, and it's really fucking hard to not let it. And you need so many tools to not let it affect you. And then, you know, once I understood it, I understood that I had it. It just kept like happening more and more people pointed it out. Like Jim, like my stillness coach, kind of looked at me one day, and I hadn't brought this up to him, but after one of our sessions, he was like, Matt, I'm going to tell you something. It's like, you're one of the most sensitive people I've ever met. And I was like, fuck, dude, why can't I be a little, damn it. It's just so exhausting being sensitive. And I realized at the same time, the reason I was able to connect with so many people through Yes Theory, to our community, to our audience, because I really care, because I can't help it, and because I do see the world and the issues in it and feel that I have to do something. I have to stand for something. If I don't, I feel worse. The problem was, for most of my life, I was rushing into the battlefield without any armor, without any tools, without any sense of like, how do I care for myself in this process? Now that I know that I'm sensitive, now that I've built this skill set of, building what I built, I feel like the next phase of my life, I'll be able to enter it, still build, make impact, still lead, but know what's required for me to not burn out, to stay good, to stay aligned. And ultimately realizing it's the greatest superpower of all time.
Yeah.
I will pick up on things that seem so obvious to me. Almost like sometimes I meet engineers and I'm like, what language are you guys talking about? Like they get it so easily. For me, it's like, it's more of an emotional thing, or like even this voice that comes very clear to me. I know that comes from my sensitivity. Like I don't know if people, like I've talked to other people in recovery groups and a lot of them don't necessarily have like this whisper that they can really pick up on. And I think that whisper is a sensitive trait. So yeah, dude, I mean, now it's all very recent for me. I'm still learning how to adjust to being sensitive, but there is something cool about being a sensitive dude. Like my girlfriend is not used to having a sensitive boyfriend. Like she is very much getting used to having to talk about feelings and with her partner. And I think there's something, really valuable, like you said, like with my friends that I can also provide, is like, I can see parts of them very clearly that they may not be able to see. And I think that's also the greatest gift I can give to someone, is like, hey, you have this, you're not picking up on it, but my freaking brain is on fire right now and I got to tell you. So yeah, I think as I get older, it'll be better and better.